minutes. If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Welcome to the HHH Racing Podcast, episode 437 of Picks and Ponies. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. I'll be bringing on my co-host in just a minute. The Breeders' Cup 2025 at Del Mar is only 72 hours away as we are filming here live Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for joining us. We have an unbelievable show as tonight. We're going to cover the 5 Future Star Friday Breeders' Cup races on Friday, of course. It is the 2-year-olds taking center stage. What an amazing collection of male and female horses we're going to be talking about. They're only in human age. They're only in middle school, junior high. But I'll tell you what, they don't have middle school or junior high talent. These are serious horses. Some of the best in the world are here. And we are here to talk about those 5 races and hopefully get you some winners in to the winner's circle so that you can crush your bets, of course, right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Please follow us on X at HHH Racing Pod. We have over 3,400 followers now on X. We'd like to keep that growing, of course. So if you are on social media, please follow us at HHH Racing Pod. We have a fantastic tip sheet, which we'll talk about later, a great website. We'll talk about that a little bit later. We have a lot to discuss. Without further ado, let me bring on my great co-hosts. I'm going to say this with them off the screen right now. They have done yeoman's work. They always do a great job, but I ask a lot of my co-hosts and my fantastic families, I call them, during this week or two before the Breeders' Cup, and they've stepped up, as always, done a great job, fully prepared, and we are ready to rock and roll. So, with that introduction, let me bring on first, from the Saratoga Special and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Mr. Paul Halloran, and from the East Coast of Maryland, Mr. Pete Visco. Gentlemen, we'll go full screen. I love the Kentucky Derby weekend, but I have to agree with Matt Bernier, and I've changed my mind over the years. This, my friends, is the best racing weekend of the year in the United States. How are we doing tonight?
Gentlemen, Paul?
Yes, you are correct, Howard. It is because you have 14 races, and the Derby has one great race. It's a great undercard, and as is Travers, as is Belmont. But we got 14 in these 2 days, so
yeah, I like
incredible.
Belmont. Belmont's my second, actually. I go Breeders' Cup, Belmont, then probably Derby.
Belmont is solid. Let's just get right to it. Again, we're filming here at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday. So Pete and Paul, and people might watch this on Wednesday or Thursday or even Friday as we're previewing the Friday races. What we're about to talk about might be old news, but it is certainly not old news right now as we are filming. Mr. Halloran, huge news about Sovereignty, had a fever, took some medication. Apparently the fever is gone as of today, but could always pop back. I know you have a little bit of inside intel. You know the Mott Barn very well. You know Godolphin people very well. Please give us the latest on the news about Sovereignty's fever and if he will not make this year's Classic.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to anyone from Godolphin, to be clear, but I did speak to someone on the ground and someone whose opinion that I do respect. And yeah, so everyone knows what happened by this point. Mott came out and met the press today. The horse didn't go to the track, so that's red flag number one. Although the day after a workout, it is not uncommon not to go to the track. But this horse was feeling so good, I think Mott said he probably would have jogged him. So, the horse looked fine, ate all his food, but they take his temperature a couple of times a day. Apparently 101 is the equine version of 98.6, and he came in at 103, which is a problem. They did what you and I would do. We get a fever, take some Tylenol or Advil to bring it down. It worked. He came down right back to 101. But the problem is, there's a couple of problems. One is it's, possible, if not likely, that once that medication clears his system, that it could go back up. And Mott made it clear today, if that happens, they're done. The person that I communicated with literally was at the barn, said he stood next to him. He looked normal. He acted normal. He ate up all his food. But, that's why they take the temperature, right? And, it's 5 days out from, it's not 5 days out from a non-winners of 1X or a maiden, right? It's 5 days out from the race of the year, the horse of the year, as Trevor Denman once said in 2007. So, we know where Mott and the Godolphin people are going to fall here on the side of being cautious. I mean, they want to win the race. They want to run the race. I believe if the horse is 99%, he will not run. And I think I think the best case scenario is as of tomorrow at noon our time, Mott is going to meet the media at 9. As of noon our time tomorrow, 9 Pacific, the best case scenario is that he's not scratched. That doesn't mean he won't be scratched between Wednesday and Saturday, but I think that's all we can reasonably hope for tomorrow. And look, I know there are bigger problems in the world, and we get wrapped up in this game, but it never, the game that we love, it kicks you in the teeth every once in a while. And look, this isn't Maple Leaf Mel. I get it. I have some perspective, but you're talking about the 6-5 favorite in the Breeders' Cup Classic, the race of the year. Was he definitely going to win? In my opinion, yes, but certainly you make a great case for others. But it's certainly no longer the race. It becomes a very competitive horse race, and the whole Breeders' Cup for the ages is no longer among us.
Well, I think it's pretty competitive anyway, even with Sovereignty in the race. But Sam, I don't want to spend too much time because we got a lot to discuss.
Yeah, I just want to pass that on.
No. That was great intel. We really do appreciate that, Paul. Paul, answer this one question. I'll take this one question from our great fans in the live chat. If you're watching or listening, please go to our live chat. It's from Sam Falcon 338. Would a scratch have any impact on him returning next year, in your opinion, Paul?
You know something, Howard? That's a really good question. I've talked about it with a few people today, Bob Mullins and others, and I don't know. Did they just say, okay, we're done, he's going to John Bell Farm, or did they say, you know what, we're going to map out a campaign that starts in Dubai and ends in next year's Breeders' Cup, and right. If they want to throw the Whitney in between. The other thing I would say, Howard, and we can move on, I did also reach out to a former trainer who will remain, it doesn't matter, but this is a very successful trainer. And I said, look, I know you're not there. I said, but what you heard, what do you think? And he said, my guess is that he may spike a temp again and not run. Sad, but that's how it is. So
wow. Well, Pete, let's throw the question to you. And then we'll go into the handicapping of the Friday races. Let's just say, and we all want him to run. Let's just be clear. Whether you like Sovereignty, you don't like Sovereignty in the race, any true racing fan wants to see Sovereignty in this race, Pete. But let's just, for S's and giggles, say that he is scratched. What does that do to the field? Who do you think is going to be the favorite? And I guess that brings a lot of other horses in the race, in theory, right? That could win.
Actually, I don't. In all honesty, I don't think it does. I think the other. No, only because I think he was the most likely winner. He was my top pick. I know he was Paul's top pick, obviously, but I think the horses that had a shot to win anyway still have a shot. I think favoritism is interesting. I don't have any idea who's going to be favored if he scratches, just because I think it'll be pretty spread out between Fierceness, and Fierceness drawing the one hole could be problematic from an odds standpoint, and Forever Young and Sierra Leone. And I don't know, journalism could take more money, maybe with Sovereignty out. So,
well, Pete, let me ask you this, and Paul, I'll ask you this question, then we do have to move on to the races. If he runs, Pete, does what happened today change your opinion on anything?
No.
Paul?
Very little, only because it's Mott, and I know, like I said, I know Mott isn't running them at 99%. I think with others, I might have a different answer, but I think that's Howard. I believe that is a great question. And to your question of Pete, I think what it does is I agree with you. There are, let's say, a handful of horses that we can say, have a legitimate shot. I think anyone would argue all of their chances would get better.
They get better, yes, but I don't think they're like appreciably better because they still have to beat a pretty good fields, and I think it would have been hard regardless. I mean, I'm like 7 deep if I was playing a caveman ticket. So to me, I didn't really, whether he's in or not, I still think there's a bunch of horses that have a shot.
Well,
I'm about to go from 1 to 7, Pete.
I ask one? I know we want to move on. Can I ask one question to Paul? Do you think if for some reason they don't run him next year, not being in the Classic, if he does scratch, do you think that makes them regret the Triple Crown and not going for the Triple Crown?
No, not 1%. I think what is interesting, and I'll say it for the last time, we have to move on, but depending upon if he doesn't run, and I guess if he does and doesn't win, but it'll be very interesting. This race will now have an absolute impact on Horse of the Year, because if he ran and won, he was a lock. If he ran and lost, it depends on who he lost to, probably, right? Now it's going to really depend on if he doesn't run. There's several scenarios where he could still be Horse of the Year. It's just a question of who's going to win the race.
It's going to be interesting. For me, if he is on the track tomorrow morning and feeling fine, and he's going to run, I have very few concerns whatsoever. They're going to take zero chances with this horse. The only thing is if he runs like really poorly, unfortunately, a lot of heat's going to come down on Godolphin and Mott, and it probably shouldn't, but it will, unfortunately. So I hope if he runs, guys, he runs very well. Whether he wins or not is a whole other story. Anyway, it's fascinating to see, again, when people watch this later on this week, if they're not watching live, we'll probably know a lot more at the time they watch.
Pete, people aren't watching live? Well, what are we doing here, Pete? Who the hell's not watching live?
Everybody's watching live. We got millions.
Pete, we got to send Joey Bombats to their house if they're not watching live.
Wow. All right. Well, you heard it from Paul Howard. Look out. All right, guys.
My dad make some calls, Paul.
There you go.
On the horn.
Oh, boy. All right. Friday, guys. Future Stars Friday. It's a lot of fun. I don't think we've seen as heavy favorites morning line as ever in the Breeders' Cup Friday. I can't remember, Paul. I mean, this Breeders' Cup is around 40 years. People don't realize how long it's been around. I cannot remember a Friday, Pete and Paul, where there's been so many morning line favorites. Now, are they going to win? That is a whole other question, because the post positions are fascinating in a bunch of these races. And I know there's very strong opinions. We have no show after this live, so we are going to go on for more than an hour for sure tonight. So strap it in, everyone. Here we go. We are starting on Friday. The Breeders' Cup races start race 6. It starts with a Juvenile turf sprint. They're all grade 1s. I'm not going to say that in every race. They're all very rich purses. Many of them are $1 million, like this one. 5 furlongs. These are for fillies and the boys, of course. There are many Euros in this race. Right now, it's a field of 12. There are a bunch of AEs if someone scratches. The morning line favorite, you can see on the right side of the screen, is completely wide open. But it's the Aidan O'Brien's True Love. Wayne Lorden has the mount, and I have a story behind that, which I'll share with some people, because I've been very much deep diving these last month, really, on intel information that I will share with you. It's a wide open board, guys. So let's see where we're going to go here in this race. I bring up the banners. Most of you are familiar with the show. If you're not, you're going to see banners scrolling on the bottom of the screen for our top 3 picks. I'm going 10, 11, 9. Paul's going 8, 1, 9. And Pete is going 10, 8, 9. Pete and I are both going at the same horse. Paul, I'm going to start with you first. There are, what about, I think 6 Euros? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. 6 Euro-based horses, half the field. You're going to go with one of them. A little bit of a price for Donica O'Brien, the number 8, Havana Anna. Talk about this horse, Paul.
Yeah, this is a head scratcher race. I think that this horse battled True Love all the way to the wire in that last race. If you watch the replay, and you can make an argument that the difference was the distance. I was listening to Kelly Riley. I don't know if people are familiar with her, but she is a really foremost expert on Euro racing, and she thought the True Love really, and I agree by watching it, really kicked in a gear, kind of going up a little hill in the last furlong. Also heard in that same podcast that this 5 furlong with a turn setup could be more suited to Havana Anna than the others. I also have gotten a little higher on Brussels, Howard, and you can talk about that. Yeah, I know we talked last night about Sumion ending up here, but Brussels has lost 6 straight races, all by a length or less. Maybe needs 6. He's only run once at 5 furlongs, ran second, so that's a factor. But and I went with True Love third. And I'll let you guys talk about Cy Fair, who I think is very good. My comment on Cy Fair after watching that last replay was, after watching where he had to come from in that race, will he be too far back in a field this big? I thought he lost ground early. I mean, he was unbelievably impressive coming down the lane, the long Woodbine lane. I'm just wondering if there's a chance at 5 furlongs with a tight turn, if he might be too far back. So there.
Let me get. We'll talk about Cy Fair in a minute. Paul, we appreciate your thoughts there. Let me talk about Havana Anna. Now, if you want to watch replays, by the way, of these Euros, we're not going to do it on this show. I did have a very excellent show with Davey Lane and Emmett Kennedy about the international runners. Please check it out. It was last Friday. Just FYI, and I wrote it, there is a bit of an echo issue from the 17 to the 28-minute mark. I did write it in the it's in several places, so you might want to skip over 17 to 28 minutes of that show, but the show is about an hour and a half, so well worth your while to watch that on our YouTube channel in the Breeders' Cup section. Paul's exactly right. Havana Anna actually had the lead until the final, I'd say, 200 yards, and then True Love really took over. Havana Anna is very good. She's solid. She definitely has a shot. I do want to bring this up also, which is very important. This is courtesy of At the Races. This is the anti-post betting in Europe right now. And if you're not familiar with this, I'll explain. There's a few main betting platforms. Bet365 and William Hill are the main ones overseas. Right now, they've got True Love as the anti-post favorite. The best you can get is about 3-1 or 10-3 actually, and they have Havana Anna right now, Paul, at about 6s or 7s. Your top choice there. Brussels right behind that, about the same amount. Schwarzenegger second choice. You can see it on the screen again. This is what people in Europe believe. So we're all a bit provincial, right? We all sort of like our own. We can be a bit myopic, right? We all like our own horses. So, but they know their horses better than we know their horses, obviously. So that is something to consider. Let me briefly talk about Brussels, and then Pete, I'll let you talk about Cy Fair. Paul, I almost put Brussels in third, and my hesitation with my picks, and I'll let Pete talk here. You want to be inside on this turf course in general, and the wider you are, the more the break matters. And Brussels breaks fine. He's a little bit of a bigger horse, I thought, Paul, and it doesn't look like he needs the lead. Obviously, Sumion's going to have to send out of there from the rail, but Brussels to me is interesting. I'm absolutely using this horse. I'm not sure he's quite as good as True Love and maybe the others, but he's not by much. And obviously, when you're going 5 furlongs, Trip Matter. We saw Starlust come up the inside. We saw Magnum Force come up the inside last year. So if Brussels breaks and gets a good spot, I think he definitely has got a shot. Now, Pete, before we talk about Cy Fair, I do want to talk about the Sumion issue, and I'll go full screen here. In just a second. Let me do that. All right. So Sumion usually runs, guys, he usually rides at 121. Okay. True Love is in for 119. He can't make that weight. And that's the main reason why he's on Brussels, the male horse, instead of the female horse. Now, before people start typing in the chat, Mini Hawk, who he is riding on Saturday, is 119. but they figure they give them another 24 hours, they'll be much more easily able to make that weight 24 hours later. And they don't want to take a chance, guys, of scratching True Love soon out or finding another rider if True Love, if he doesn't make that weight. So that's the backstory that a lot of people don't know. It's not as if Aiden thinks Brussels is more likely to win, and Lauren's been on True Love anyway. All right, so there's the intel on that. Sci-Fair. I would be happy to push back on what Paul said. Pete, maybe you agree with what Paul said about Sci-Fair about being too far back, but I'll let you talk about this George Weaver runner who was ultra impressive at Woodbine. He's really done nothing wrong in 3 lifetime starts.
Yeah, she was up closer in her first 2 starts at Saratoga against fillies, then sort of went against the boys last time, and I really like that race. And obviously, since I have this horse on top, similar to you, and I also like obviously this is going to sound stupid. I like the move to Irad. I just think Irad is going to fit this horse from a trip standpoint. So I think as long as this one can stay in striking distance, I think what Paul said is right, though. We don't want this horse to accidentally be too far back, but I think if we can get this one a little bit closer.
Can I interrupt you a second, Pete?
Yeah, please.
She wasn't that far back last time. She gets shuffled back.
She did get
she's
shuffled.
Right there.
Yep.
She's fast, Paul, in my opinion, Pete. And they took back a little bit, and then sort of got.
Now that was also it was a 6-horse field, and she broke from the 2. Now she's breaking from the outside in a much bigger field. So things can happen that could cause her to be.
No doubt. I'm just saying they purposely took her back in that race, so she was shuffled. It's not like she didn't show speed. She has enough speed. Yeah, she does have enough speed. I think. Yeah, that's why I don't think she's going to be coming from too far back. But again, I like Irad to time the ride specifically because I think the kick is what's going to. I think we do need some pace. I mean, the pace is. If you look at like time form, the pace is sort of. It's almost like a fake pace because the horses that are up near the top, aside from Schwarzenegger, are not in the field currently. So you wonder if Schwarzenegger is going to get loose, and that could be problematic. But I just love the kick that she had, and I think she's improving. And if you look, I know you and I like time form figures. From a time form standpoint, this horse in all 3 races has been in like the 104, 105 territory, which is right near the top of this field for the best of the other horses. And she's pretty much done at every race or close to it. Right. So to me, I just think she's been impressive throughout her 3 races, and I think this is a good spot for her, especially because I do think Havana Anna I like obviously as well. I'm with Paul on that one, and I think I was a little True Love. I think maybe the cut back to 5. We'll see. Maybe she is a little better at 6, and maybe we can get her going 5. We'll see. There's no time form pace map because there's so many Euros in here. This is a soft pick for me. I just don't want to take a favorite in True Love in a small field. And that's my main, feeling there. I think True Love is probably the most talented horse in the field. I think she's very good. Paul, do you want me to take you off camera for a minute? Or are you?
No, I think people like watching me move to different settings.
They love it.
Okay.
They like everybody likes watching you move, Paul. Obviously.
I'll tell you what. Hey, Pete, I stayed up till 2:56 for 18 innings, so I'm moving even slower than usual, Pete. And it's not that fast.
I only made it to 1:30. I couldn't do it. I was like, I can't do it.
I was too invested, Pete. I couldn't turn it off.
I was pissed. By the way, Aiden O'Brien in the last 5 years in sprint, so for 5, only hit the board once.
Okay.
So.
I think she's the horse to beat, but I don't want to take too low a price. I think Sci-Fair is versatile, and I trust Irad here, Pete.
Me
I
too.
think Ira's going to put her in a good spot, and I agree with you also. I think you mentioned this on one of our shows. Maybe it was on the draw show. I like that she now has experience around a tight turn. Actually, Saratoga is not exactly a soft turn, but I will say, I want to caution people because visuals can be a little bit deceiving. That was not a good field. That was not a good field at all that she beat at Woodbine. But again, you can only beat who you beat. I've got Schwarzenegger second, guys, for mainly the reason that Paul said. Boy, is he fast. He is fast out of the gate. He might pull a Cogburn from last year. He might go too fast, guys. And even though 5 Del Mar is usually, you want to be up close, it's going to be a very lush turf course, and it might not carry speed as much as you think. But I'll tell you what, guys, I don't mind taking the fastest of the fast in this field early because you got a lot of Euros. You don't know how they're going to break. They might blow the turn, right? There's a lot of things that could happen in this race that are negative more than positive, probably from that perspective. And I wouldn't mind having a horse on the lead. And it sure looks like it's going to be Schwarzenegger. That's my second choice. And then I've got True Love third, not because she's the third best horse in this race. I just don't want to take a low price. She's done nothing wrong. She's very good, but it's not like she's that much better than a lot in here, Pete. And so we all got her third, but I think we'd all agree that she's got an excellent shot to win. It's just a price situation. And I got to be honest, I think she might be less than 7-2, guys. I think she'll be 5-2. Just a gut feeling.
I can see
Any
that.
final thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, well, and if it does fall apart, Howard, then her chances increase significantly.
Yes, I would agree. I also want to mention Lenny Lou, who I would have liked in this race if she drew a better post. I think Lenny Lou is very underrated and good. I mean, she went to Ascot and only lost to Trula by a length, guys. So Lenny Lou was very talented for Andy and Patrick B. and Cohn. That post is brutal.
I had Lenny Lou in third prior to the post draw and then moved her out, actually.
Yeah. The fact that Schwarzenegger and Lenny Lou are next to each other, doesn't that increase the chances for a real and fuego pace?
Well, I think Lenny Lou's going to try to pull the same trip that Ted Noffy's going to. I don't think Lenny Lou's going to be like
sit off,
pressing Schwarzenegger. I think Lenny Lou will be very happy, like being a length off and being in the 3 path. You know, Lenny Lou can pass horses.
Yeah, no, I know. I know she.
They're going to go fast. This is going to be fast. There's no doubt it's going to be fast.
I wonder if the post that you talked about changes that. You know what I mean? Might she have to go faster earlier just because of where she's starting from?
Yeah,
I would agree with that. But they were gonna come running anyway, right? Out of there, you have to. Even if you're in the 3 hole, you got to come out running to some extent, right? So anyway, fun race, a race I probably will not be betting. I am playing the BCBC, by the way, just to let people know. But I'm most likely skipping that race. I just don't like turf sprints in general at all. All right, guys, let's go to the second Breeders' Cup race of the day. We got a lot of people watching. We got a lot of comments, by the way. I can't bring up a lot of comments. We got a lot to talk about, but please continue to talk to each other in the chat. Pete, if you see anything, oh, hey, look who's here. Charlie Freeman, co-host of our wonderful Ben and Boozin show. Paul appears to be moving well. Good to know for my Breeders' Cup picks from Charlie. How about that? All right. And Matthew Coleman thinks Schwarzenegger could wire them. We shall see.
I know we got to move on, Howard, but it's once a year this happens, so
yeah,
stay up late. I stayed up till 3 watching baseball. You people could stay up till 10 watching us. Isn't Schwarzenegger kind of an enigma? And I don't say that negatively. Wesley was unbelievably high on Schwarzenegger. Ended up scratching definitely twice, if not 3 times. And then finally ran and put it together. Obviously put it together last time, but boy, you know, he could be he this is the race where they mingle. He could be he could be really good, and maybe he builds off that last race. I don't know. I thought they were getting to him last time, Howard, and I think in a race like this, they may get to him even if he goes to the lead.
I don't disagree with you, Paul, completely, but I would push back on 2 things. One is they went 21-1 or something, and 2, that was 5.5. And Keeneland, you can close on that turf course. This stretch is much shorter. So
yeah, that's true.
I hear you. If Schwarzenegger finishes a tired 6th, I would not be surprised at all, Paul. He's just really, he's so quick in his first 5 steps that I can just see him pulling a Golden Pal kind of situation. I'm not saying he's as good as Golden Pal.
No,
I'm just saying.
No, it's that's why if you're playing horizontal, and this is the first leg of the pick 5,
yes,
which I believe is a horizontal wager, Pete.
I think so.
There are a lot of them.
You know, this is a race. You know,
it sucks getting knocked out. It sucks getting knocked out of the first leg by the speed of the speed in a sprint,
no doubt.
in a turf sprint. So you're like, do I put that horse on just because I'll be pissed? Because from a talent standpoint, and it looks like he could be loose potentially. So if that happens, you're just sitting there pissed if you're ripping up your ticket already. Because
I think the fact that he's outside too, Pete, and is going to cross over in front of some Euros that aren't used to a bend, it just I feel like this is going to be a messy race. I'm not saying someone's going to get hurt or fall. I think there's going to be a lot of bumping, jostling, and I want someone who's clear in that situation. So
You know
we'll
me.
see.
That's what I like.
All right. Net Jets Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. This is, of course, for the girls going 2 turns, a mile and a 16th. This race over the years has been very tricky. We've seen some favorites. We've all seen some absolute bombs. It's a field of 9. The soft money line favorite is one of 2 for Baffert. This one is Explora, ridden by Juan Hernandez. 5-2 is the morning line. Let's see where we're going. I'm going 279. Paul's going 715, and Pete is going 172. 3 different directions. Pete, we're going to start with you. Iron Orchard is 6-1. This is a very talented, exciting New York bred. And I want to say right off the bat, before you talk about this horse, Iron Orchard may be the one horse on Friday that I am completely wrong about. I don't love her here, but like I said, I could be wrong. What say you about Iron Orchard winning the Juvenile Fillies, Pete?
Well, the biggest thing I like about this horse is the versatility she showed last out in the Frazette, because again, there's speed in here, and if she was just another speed horse from the rail and there was other speed coming down from the outside, I thought that could have been potentially problematic. But I think because of the versatility she showed, and she did get a hot pace to close into last time, but I still liked seeing it. I think, again, Rosario, we don't know what he's going to do. Sometimes he takes a little too far back, but I'm looking at it where, especially from the rail, where this horse can just drop back a little bit, let some of the other speed sort of take the lead, and she can just sit sort of in that second flight. And I like the fact that she just showed last out that that's okay. And she could pass, and she could close late, and she could pass horses and win a race. Sometimes we don't know that with these younger horses because they're inexperienced, but they're the best horse in a lot of their races. So sometimes they just go to the lead, and we don't know what they can do if they have to sit off or they don't get it their own way. And I like the fact that she showed that she can do that.
Nah, I mean, the fact that she was able to close is definitely a feather in her cap. Now, she did beat a horse that was like 30-1 or something. That being said, these are young horses. You don't know exactly what to expect. My overall thought here, Pete, and I agree with everything you said. I think she's talented and can obviously win the race. I sort of want to see it again. I also want to see it around 2 turns. I think horses that have been around 2 turns have a big advantage. She's also never been out west. She was sold actually for 2.5, I believe, Paul, between her win and now. I'm not saying that's a negative, but it's a little unusual situation. I'm not sure how strong that field was in the Frazette, but Paul, she is going to save ground. Gargan knows what he's doing. Joel's been on her before. There are a lot of things to like. For me, it's just a question of price, and I sort of want to see it again.
Yeah, isn't this the horse Gargan said he wasn't going to run, and then after she got sold, they changed? Or am I thinking of someone else?
That is correct.
Yeah, that I don't like. Yeah, I'm a big fan of sticking to the plan. Yeah, I had that was a quick pace last time. 44-4 is moving, right?
It is, but the track was really souped up and extremely fast that day. Just want to say. You can look at the chart. Look at the charts that day, Paul. You'll see. But anyway, go ahead.
And to your point, that was a 26-1 shot. She was out dueling. Another concern I have is the fact that she was able to win running like that. And this is a 2-turn race. I do think there's a chance Joel has her a little further back. Looking to save ground. Look, I almost picked this horse, so I picked her second. I would love to see a New York bred win 2 of these races, not just one. Charlie asked in the chat about Percy's Bar, legitimate question. That's what happens in these races. When you have to pick 3, you're going to leave some horses off that say, hey, what about that horse? Well, I can only pick effing 3 horses. My Uncle Howard says you can only pick 3.
Paul, talk about Explora, who I have second. Pete's got second. I'll readily admit, Explora's the horse to beat. I like the fact that she was able to relax a little bit with the blinkers off, Paul, and she's going to get a similar trip again. So I think she's got 2 things going for her, but she's no damn superstar. And she's going to be, she might be 9-5 here. She can win. She's the most likely winner. I still think there's others that are interesting at the price.
Yeah, and then it's kind of unlikely for me to land on a horse like this. But, if you're looking at the speed figures, obviously, one of the key things I think people need to pay attention to, Howard, in these juvenile races at a route is how horses, how they do when they stretch out, right? And if you see the and we can talk about after this, Tommy Joe, which is going to be the opposite scenario. So Explorer stretches from 7 to a mile and a 16th. Buyer goes up 9 points, although she did run an 88 her first time out. I get it. Tommy Joe, who I think is the real wild card in here, I was really high on this horse. I needed this horse to be put up in that sequence last time.
So did I.
Don't think she was going to win the race without being interfered with. I was not overly impressed with that effort. It's a fine effort, but the fact that the buyer regressed 10 points when going sprint to route and going around 2 turns. I mean, this Percy's Bar, she's at the throat latch of Percy's Bar all the way down the lane here. And unfortunately, Luan Machado didn't realize you could hit the horse with the right hand. You don't have to keep hitting with the left hand, which is right there. And I believe she should have come down.
Yeah.
Because the stewards have to go by what they see. And, she lost by 2 lengths and she wasn't going to lose by 2 lengths. But my point is, I don't think she was getting by. I'm not so sure she's going to be better going at this same 1 and a 16th. I think she's the opposite of the other spendthrift we're going to talk about soon, Ted Noffey, who I think will just get better and better as they go longer. But this horse, I think, makes it a little bit of a tricky race because she is good. So
she's good. I think she's a sprinter, Paul. I know some people like Percy's Bar that I respect. I don't like that race at all. I don't. It was quick early. It was slow late, with or without the bumping. I think Percy's Bar was completely geeked up and ready to go to win that race at Keeneland, where she trains. Now she's got to ship all the way across the country. There's other speed in here. I don't like either one of these horses at all. Not even a little bit. Obviously, because I've got 279. Go ahead, Paul, and then I'll talk about
to your point, and I want to get Pete's input on this. One argument you could make, Howard, that supports what you just said is those two were really separated from the field. I mean,
right.
You needed a telescope to go back to the others. So that could make the argument that it wasn't that good a race. What do you think, Pete?
No, I do. It's weird but the ones behind were pretty bad also. So it's tough to judge that. But again, they're really, there's not a lot of depth in some of these races to begin with. So you have to get to a point where you're like, you know what, I'm going to ignore this and go with the talent at some point. And that's a hard decision to make, though, I think. But at least a couple of them, and the one that Howard's going to talk about, at least have knocked heads a little bit. So it gives you a little bit of a gauge as how they'll do against a better field. This
is another soft pick for me, guys, but I don't understand why Bottle of Rouge should be 9-2 here. By the way, owned by Natalie Baffert, Bob's wife. No pressure, Bob.
No, Jill. His wife is Jill, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Natalie's. That is her. That is her. I think
it is her.
Jay is the middle name.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Sorry, I'll stop.
That's okay. It is Jill, but they list anyway. Bottle of Rouge already beaten Explorer last time, and I like the way that she did it. Sometimes you just got to go by the visual. Not only that, but Lawally's in this race also. Watch the 1 and 5 here. We're not going to watch the whole race here, but Bottle of Rouge is the 5. Explorer got an easy lead here, guys, and Bottle of Rouge came off the pace. You're going to see her make this wide move. Again, this was 7 furlongs, 1 turn, but she's got a longer stride, guys. I like the way that she finishes here. She went by Explorer, I won't say easily, but did go by. She's a Vino Rosso, guys. A Vino Rosso. Right. And I think she's going to sit a great trip. There's a lot of speed in this race, guys. And she's going to just sit on the inside and tip out. I like the visual there. I like the price. I think there's a lot to like with Battle of Rouge in a field that's completely wide open. The other horse I just want to mention that I don't think will win, but I think is interesting to talk about, especially in this big field, is the number 9, Lawali. This is one of the few horses, guys, that actually should be able to close. She's a Constitution, costs 300. I know she got beat by Explorer last time, but Explorer got a perfect trip, and Lawali just didn't quite kick in. Maybe she just needed the experience going around 2 turns. I think the instructions for Flavian guys is just take back and make one run, and I could see this thing falling apart and Lawali making a big impression late. So I'm going 279. Explores the horse to beat. I'm completely against the 4 and 5. I don't know what to do with your 1, Pete, and I think the 9 is a bit interesting. There you go. Final thoughts, guys, before we move on, Mr. Halloran.
I have a couple of poo-poo stats, Pete. I know you
I
love
love
them.
it. My favorite.
Wow, Paul throwing the poo-poo.
I love poo-poo stuff.
Wow.
And
Go ahead,
it wasn't intentional, but they just have. Although actually they're going at me too because I'm using Baffert. Baffert in this race is 2 for 26.
Yep.
Fletcher is 0 for 19, FYI. But I think more important than that, Howard, in this race, only one horse has won coming off a sprint. All other previous winners were coming off
Fair.
a route in their prep. That's all.
I also should mention, I should have mentioned this in the first race, Sumian, Christoph Sumian, who was first called for Aiden this weekend, has not won a Breeders' Cup race since 2005. And he's a world-class rider, but he doesn't ride at Del Mar very often, and he hasn't won a Breeders' Cup race in 20 years. I just food for thought, guys. All right. Very interesting race, and appreciate these stats. And I always appreciate a little poo-poo thrown in my face. Hopefully, I'll be throwing it back at you, Mr. Halloran,
I hope so.
when the 2 wins, and we see Jill Baffert in the winner's circle hugging and kissing her husband, Bob. All right, guys, let's go on to the next race. The next race is right here. It is the John Deere Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. They're going 1 mile. It's a relatively short run into the first turn. It's courses for the fillies. It is a large field. There's no AEs, and there is a complete monster potentially in this field, like last year. Last year, Lake Victoria won and did it very impressively. This year, there's a horse named Precise on the far outside the 13, 6-5 morning line for Aiden, and Christoph Sumian is riding Precise because they're all riding at 122. Let's see what we're doing here in this race. I'm going 1-13-9. Paul's going 13-2-10, and Pete is going 13-3-1. Paul, we'll start with you. Everyone knows, if you've been paying attention and you do your homework and you listen to Aidan O'Brien, which you interviewed, by the way, did a great job. A lot of over thousands of views, by the way.
3,500 as of this afternoon.
And we have many on. I mean, we have thousands of views on a
And
lot
Paul,
of our...
all 3,500 were there for you, not O'Brien, obviously.
Actually, you know what, guys? Let's do this before we talk about this race. This is a perfect time to do it. Yeah, Pete, we all know that. We don't.
I mean,
Aiden who? I don't.
Yeah.
All right, guys. First of all,
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen at home, we've got a fantastic tip sheet. It's over 30 pages. It only costs $35 for your current standard subscriber. We probably have people watching that are not a current PowerPick subscriber. It's only $45. It's over 30 pages, ladies and gentlemen. Usually that's going to cost $70, $80, $90. We preview every single race. We give ABC grids, spot plays, long shots, best bets, major stats, intel. It is absolutely worthwhile. But the deadline, ladies and gentlemen, is tomorrow, Wednesday, noon Eastern. Again, the deadline to buy the PowerPick T-Street Breeders' Cup, HHH, is Wednesday, noon Eastern. Very quickly, all you have to do is go to our website. Our website is right here on the screen. It is hhhracingpodcast.com. It's very simple. Go to our front page. I'll take that off. Pete does a great job of this. You just click on PowerPicks tip sheet. The drop down takes you to Breeders' Cup PowerPicks. Choose that. All the information is there. You can find out what's involved. You can find out how to pay, what you get, the deadline, etc. And then we have examples of the last 3 years of our PowerPick tip sheets. You know exactly, see last year's 32 pages. You'll see exactly what you're getting. We think it's invaluable. It's highly profitable. It's inexpensive. Please check that out. Okay. Paul, let's get into Precise. Again, we had Aidan O'Brien on. I'm not going to go to our, actually, yeah, I wanted to show this also very quickly. Our YouTube channel, Here it is. Just scroll down to Breeders' Cup, and we have a bunch of shows. Look to the right. We've got more shows. We already have about 10 shows up. We're going to have about 4 or 5 more shows. It's going to be a total about 15 shows on our YouTube channel. So please check that out. Subscribe button, hit the notification bell, like button, etc. Okay, Paul, Precise. Go ahead, my friend. The floor is yours.
Well, I went back and forth. This Precise was off slow the last 2 times, and that certainly could be a problem from the 13. And I'm not ignoring it, but honestly, when I looked at the rest of the field, some of these races, you're like, well, I think there's 3 or 4 or 5. I think there's a lot of good horses. I'm going to use the 10 at a price at 30 to 1. I'd use the 12 a little bit, but I'm just going to go with the best horse wins. And, hopefully our boy Sumion, who apparently hasn't won a Breeders' Cup race since Heather was a baby, can, work out a decent trip. I think if he can work out a decent trip, then this horse is a winner.
She's been very impressive, Pete. I mean, if you watch the visual, she wasn't winning by a lot. Her last race in Newmarket, when she stretched out to a mile, was clearly the best. She does drop 6 pounds, as many Euros do. She's not gone left-handed. That's a minor concern, but not much one, because Zay knows how to prepare these horses. We talked ad nauseum about this horse on the draw show. If she drew inside 10, Pete, I think she'd almost a lead pipe cinch. Things can happen. The best horses do not always win this race. In saying that, Pete, if she wins by 3 or 4 in hand, no one would be surprised.
No, not at all. And you did mention that you do like that once she did stretch out to the mile, she did win pretty impressively and did stretch out her victory margin. And that was at a Group 1 still. So you like to see that when they stretch a little bit. And it's not like her breeding doesn't say distance should be her friend. I mean, I don't really listen to the trainers very much. That's not really my thing. But I did see a quote about this horse and the draw. And Aiden was he did sound a little reticent about it. And, he wasn't necessarily hiding the fact that it wasn't ideal and she would have to work out a trip, but it would be difficult. So again, that's problematic. So again, if it's a horse, you could be the best horse and not win. She could just be in a rough spot, get shake loose late, close like a banshee, and get second or something because somebody got the jump on her, got a cleaner trip, and got away. So that's what you have to worry about, especially for a horse who we assume, 4 to 5 with the buzz that this horse is getting? Yeah. Matt Miller, 13, don't care, just need a win with this one. I mean, we assume 4 to 5, though, because all everyone talks about is how much this is the best horse, and this is one of the better horses of the weekend and one of the the more singleable horses this weekend. So we assume she's going to take a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm going to show she's actually up a little bit. She was evens, guys, that I saw. I even saw 4 to 5. She's actually gone up a tick in Europe, guys. I see the best price you can get is 5 to 4. She'll be around even money. I think she went up a tick because of the post, obviously. There's really the next horse is Time to Dream. Again, these are the Euro anti-post odds, ladies and gentlemen. They got Time to Dream as the second choice. I'll just leave it on the screen so people can see that. Here's how I feel, guys. To me, it's really pretty simple. And we'll talk about a few other horses. Let me go back to the past performances. And I'm actually going to put us on screen here for a second with that. Here's the situation. And I've had this conversation with Matt Miller and a lot of people. It's a fun conversation to have. If someone said, Howard, I will give you $1 million if you pick the winner of this race. I mean, duh, I'm going to pick Precise. Today, tomorrow, twice on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is a betting game. This is a pari-mutuel game. And when I'm getting 7 to 8 to 10 times the price on maybe a few others I think could win, in my opinion, on this show and for everyone at home, I'm going to go with someone else. That being said, I'm not stupid. Precise is clearly the horse to beat and might win by 3 or 4. So who else do you go with? Well, Pete and Paul are both going with Precise. Guys, to me, it's a 2-horse race. Maybe a 1.5 horse race. When I say that, meaning Precise might just win for fun. I'm the first one, not the first one, but I'm ready to say that. This horse, guys, to me on the screen is absolutely fascinating to me. Ultimate Love is 8-1 morning line. This is Trombetta is a very good trainer. It's a Florida bred. There's a few things I like, guys. Number one, Johnny V has just been unconscious lately. I mean, he's been really, really good. I won't say he's found the fountain of youth because that would be a Gulfstream, but I mean, geez, this guy is really good right now. Number one. Number two, she's been very professional in every start. I've watched every one. Who has she beaten? Okay, Celebrity Warriors in this race as an outsider. She hasn't beaten much. I will say that. But boy, when she hits the stretch, guys, her acceleration is something else. She's very good and she's consistent. She's going to save ground. In theory, she stays out of traffic. She should get a nice stalking, sort of probably in fourth or fifth kind of trip. And this is something that I really find interesting. And Pete, I'm assuming you looked at this. Maybe Paul, you did too. When you go to the time form, okay, if you believe in time form, and I do, if you don't believe in time form, it's a moot point. Ultimate Love got a 106 last time at Laurel. Okay. If you go down this field, just look at the right side of the screen, look at the green, you don't really see anything that close. Final Accord sprinting got a 101. Okay. I mean, you look Time to Dream, who a lot of people seem to like. I don't really. Got 91.95. You keep going. Okay, Ground Support got 96, but that was loose on the lead. I don't think it's happening here. And then you're like, oh, Precise must be like 112 or 115. No, guys. No. Precise is getting 101, 102 if you believe in time form. And Ultimate Love ran a 106 last time. Now, every number is different. Maybe the rags say something different, et cetera, et cetera. I can't ignore that, Pete. And she's going to get a great trip in theory. And she's got turf breeding, especially in the second family. I might be talking to her to finish second, Paul, by 6, but I think she is by far the other likely winner. You'll see on my best bets what I'm doing with her. I think she can upset the Precise. There you go, guys. That's my opinion.
I agree. I agree. I like that horse too. And again, it's not like figures are the most important thing, but there are trends that you like to see in the figures. And one thing we talk about, if it's just U.S. horses and we're just talking like Bayer or whatever figure you use, if you have a really big favorite who doesn't lay over the field from a figure standpoint, it gives you a little bit of pause. Again, it doesn't mean that horse isn't the best horse. It doesn't mean that horse isn't going to win. It's a data point, and it gives you a little bit of pause. When you look at it, you say, well, if this is a horse that's going to be 4 to 5 coming from the 13 hole, potentially with a jockey who, again, hasn't won a race in, Breeders' Cup race since 1927, then maybe that's a play against. But again, if she's just much better, then who the hell knows?
Penn State Scott in the chat. Yes, you're excused, Penn State. Anyone that comes on. Another reason why I like Infinite Love, Pete, and with all due respect, I don't like the Keeneland Jessamine race at all. It seems slow to me. It sort of fell apart. I was there. We can talk about how much trouble Time to Dream may or may not have gotten into, but Infinite Sky, I'm going to bring up on the screen, Infinite Sky and the other horse came from the clouds, but they went 22-2, Paul, and 47. It looks like they're closing well. And here's Frankie winning here on the wrong lead. Here's the other two, the 9. Here's Time to Dream and the 9, who actually have gotten a bumping match. I don't know, guys. It looks like they're closing hard, but I think the race sort of fell apart. Maybe I'm wrong, Pete. You've got the 3 who's coming out of the race. I don't like that race. I don't like the prep in New York. I just don't like a lot of races these horses are coming out of. I suppose Final Accord can go sprint to long if you like the 5 a little bit. I personally don't. I just don't think there's a lot of other options, which is why you and Paul like Precise even more, and I can't totally disagree with that.
But I mean, isn't that what it comes down to? Everyone has to look at the preps since they're not generally facing each other. You have to look at the preps and see which ones you favor, and a lot of times those are the horses you lean to, and there's always a ton of disagreement on which ones were better than others, and sometimes you see it and you go, I can't believe that was the race that turned out to be the key one, because it's like the total opposite of what your initial thinking was.
I just want to show the Ultimate Love stretch. She is the why am I drawing a blank here? She is
3.
She's the 1. Oh no, wait. Yeah, she's the 3.
3.
Sorry. She's a 3, just sitting on a nice. I mean, she got a nice trip. I just like her acceleration, guys. I think it's pretty solid. I mean, like she just gets going like now, and she just absolutely. Now the one is Celebrity Warrior, by the way. She's a decent animal for Napoleon Pletcher. I mean, look at this, guys. It's just, and the fractions were slow, and she just accelerates right on by, just embarrasses everyone. Again, maybe she's not facing some of these other horses, but I just like the way she's doing everything, guys. And I'm going to try for an upset, but I could be very wrong. Any final thoughts before we move on?
Well, the only thing I'd say about Celebrity Warrior is she is 30-1 morning line in this race, if that matters to you. But yeah, I will say this.
Not like I said, she's not. Yeah, good. I hear you.
Mike Trombetta is, I'm sure we have real horse players watching us, so I don't think we have to educate them. But Mike Trombetta is one of those guys who absolutely gets the maximum of the stock that he has in his barn. He can train with anyone.
Yeah, there is some speed, by the way, in here, and we'll move on. But Final Accord will probably be forward a little bit. Switch and Love, by the way, is an interesting Japanese horse. I actually watched the replay of the last race, and she lost to a horse that looks like a complete freakazoid. But Switch and Love is a nice horse who, by the way, was on the lead, guys. Just to let everyone know at home. Switch and Love might show some speed. Celebrity Warrior is going to show some speed. Brave Dev is going to show some speed. Ground Support is going to show some speed, which is why I'm, again, slightly concerned that Precise could get hung out wide. I actually think she'd be better off coming off the pace, guys. And more like an Henri Matisse kind of situation. Paul, instead of trying to take the chance of being used early and being 4 wide on the first turn, just take back, not saying the last, but just let her go out of there. If she's ninth, she's ninth, and then just roll around the whole field late. That's what I would do personally.
I think that's likely. Yahagi, again, according to Kelly Riley, thinks that this Switch and Love, the 2 turns at Del Mar, will better suit her than a 1-turn race in Japan, whatever that's worth.
Okay. Interesting. All right, let's move on, guys. There'll be a lot. We'll see if Precise, there's a part of that wants Precise to be the goods. I know Matt Miller wants Precise to be the goods. I'll just leave it at that. I don't know if I want Precise to be the goods yet when it comes down to my wallet. I'll have to make some final decisions, but I'm going to try to go for the upset on this show. All right, guys, let's go to the 4th race, the penultimate race of Future Stars Friday. Excuse me. I knew I was going to do that once tonight. The Juvenile. I guess the highlight of the day, most people would argue, just in general every year, field of 8, sort of a smaller field. Moreline favorite is Ted Noffey, the number 8. Ted Noffey's been excellent, named after Spendthrift Farm. Is it owner? Is it the owner or the man? Owner, right? Owner, I believe. Ned Toffey.
Ned Toffey, the
right.
General
Is that the
manager.
General manager. There you go. They named this one Ted Noffey. 4-5, Pletcher, Velasquez. This horse has done absolutely nothing wrong. Anyone that watches the show knows that I've been a fan of Ted Noffey. It's been a spot play. Somehow we got, what did we get, Paul? 4-1 in the hopeful, or some ridiculous 7-2.
Oh my goodness!
Insane.
Almost.
Boy, did we go to the bank on that horse that day? Let's see who we like here though on Friday. I'm going 8-7-1.
The 5 is, by the way, the 5 is scratching in this race.
Thank you. Civil Liberty out. I'm going 8-7-1. Paul's going 8-2-7. And Pete is going to throw poo-poo this time. Pete is going 2-8-1. Pete, talk about McPeak, Irad, and Blackout Time, who finished second to Ted Noffey, a very good second at Keeneland last time.
Yeah, it wasn't the sort of second that you wanted if you like that horse like I did, because I thought Ted Noffey just sort of definitely laid over that field a little bit. The way I was looking at it, and I'm actually going to give you a little bit of credit for once, which I don't like to do on the show, obviously.
Wait.
Yeah, I know.
Me?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a little bit of credit.
You're giving me credit.
Yes, not much.
Hold on. Is the record button on? Is the record button?
Okay. Not much. It's not like you discovered, penicillin or anything, but cheers. Here, I'll toast to that.
Go ahead.
The one thing I did like is that the way the post drew here, and I'm not a huge post guy, but I think Ted Noffey, Brandt's going to go, and Brandt is fast, and we don't know if Brandt's going to be able to hold, and we don't know what he's going to do, but we do know that he's going to be on the lead, and somebody's going to have to go get him, and Ted Noffey is probably going to be the one breaking from the 8, who's going to be the first one to go. And if Brandt can put up some resistance and make Ted Nafi work a little bit harder than he has had to work in getting the lead in the stretch, then I'm looking at it saying, well, what if he gets softened up a bit? And that's for once, he doesn't have that sort of late kick that we've seen in all of his races. And if so, I like the move forward for Blackout Time, where I think that this horse can maybe improve enough where I like he's got steady improvement from a buyer standpoint, from a time form standpoint. He's incrementally getting better. He hasn't had that big jump. Irad gets on. I think Irad can sit off with this horse and get a really nice trip and do exactly what I'm thinking from a trip standpoint. If he could sort of follow Ted Nafi and try and take him down if he does somehow slow down late. And McPeak is much better. I forget what the number is. It might be like 30% or so second off this sort of layoff, like that 60 to 90 day. So maybe he just wasn't in peak form in the futurity. And now you're going to get his best race with Irad here, with Ted Nafi and Brandt maybe softening themselves up a little bit.
It's fascinating how I have so much respect for you guys as handicappers, and I have a completely different view on Blackout Time. But Paul, you've got this 1 second also. Anything you want to add to Blackout Time?
Well, I mean, I thought that was a good race, and I think eligible to, I don't know how much he's going to move forward off of 93. I will say about McPeak, until Torpedo Anna came along last year, McPeak was 0 for 37 in the Breeders' Cup with a bunch of seconds and thirds, but he's now 1 for 38. Honestly, Howard, I think Ted Nafi is as close to a free square now as you're going to get over the 2 days.
Really? More than Precise? I had the feeling you liked Precise more.
Well, again, I'm going to play Precise, but if you think the post is a mitigating factor, I still think she's a very likely winner, but I don't think you can honestly say, you think she's as likely a winner from the 13 as, you would have from the 6. I just don't think that's being honest. So, and the fact that, as Pete brought out, drawing outside of Brandt and just being able to sit there, showed this horse is rated every time and has, finally, I believe in watching this horse, starting with the maiden win that I saw at Saratoga. I believe it was the day after the Whitney, if I'm not mistaken. I just think this horse is going to get better and better the longer the races are. The stride is, is just good. So, my pick of Blackout Time second is based on running second to the horse that I think is an automatic in this race.
Philippe. I thought Philippe was my boy, Paul. It just throws me under the bus. Really, Philippe? Yeah. Wow. That might be the biggest upset of the night right there from Philippe. Just kidding, Philippe. I love to hear what people think about my opinion of Blackout Time. I'll be very brief. I don't like this horse at all. Now, let me explain why. I think if you look at the workout report, guys, he was really working well and totally cranked up for this race at Keeneland. I think McPeak was really pointing to this race. Since then, it's been complete maintenance mode. Now, if you want to say, Howard, that's because he ran a big number and he doesn't want to have him bounce and blah, I get all that. Guys, I think McPeak was not – I don't even think he thought this horse would be in the Breeders' Cup. I think he was looking – the Keeneland race was the race they were pointing to, guys, and he got a perfect trip. Now, he might get a perfect trip again. I don't like Blackout Time at all. If he wins, Pete, I will tip my cap. I'll be completely shocked, like totally shocked. And by the way, not this time. The sire almost beat Classic Empire, one of the best Breeders' Cup juveniles ever out in California, but that was at Santa Anita, by the way, not Del Mar. I don't like Blackout Time at all for those reasons. And you know what, guys, about I'd say 10, 15 years ago, this is where I feel like I've improved a lot as a handicapper. I would have sort of agreed with you, Pete. And like I said, you could be right. I'm just speaking for myself. There's signal in the noise here, and I don't like the signal. That's my opinion there. Okay.
Good. I hope everyone agrees with you.
Okay. Well, we'll see who's right on Friday.
Plus, I don't really care because it's not like I'm singling him over Ted Noffy.
Right.
So me,
Right.
I'm a horizontal player. It's not like I'm not going to have Ted Noffy on there.
There we go, Jim. There we go, Jim. I knew I could count on Jim.
Jim doesn't count. Jim's your boy. That doesn't count.
What? Of course Jim doesn't.
No,
Of
I mean
course
Jim's
counts.
awesome, but he's
what? He's what?
He's an HHHer. He's an HHH lifer. He's gonna always take your side. You. So I love
All right.
Jim, but I don't put any. I don't take that as a.
Ow.
I take Felipe. Philippe obviously has the better
All right.
opinion. Obviously.
All right. Paul, here's my only concern with Ted Noffy. If he sits outside Brandt, and he's not going to press Brandt. Anyone stop? If you think he's going to press Brandt, stop it. There's no reason to press Brandt. Just sit 2.5 off him. He'll be fine. Because Ted Noffy, his best action, Paul and Pete, is late. And I don't mean he's a closer, but it doesn't take him a while to get going, but he's best in the stretch, is what I'm saying. The longer, the better for him. And I don't think that prolonged battle on the turn, Pete, is going to happen, in my opinion. I think he'll let Brandt go. He'll sit. I actually have a bigger concern, Pete, that he'll be wide on the first turn. Because even though it's a 7-horse field, there's like a lot of speed. So John V's got to play it right. I think he'll be a little bit further off in this race than he has been. I think he'll push the button. I think he'll go around Brandt and win by 2. I don't think he's going to win by like 5 or anything. I think he's going to win relatively comfortably. There's a lot of horses in here I do not like at all. I've just come to the decision, guys, that I don't like Blackout Time and I don't like the American Pharaoh. That's Santa Anita Prep. I know people see like 46 and 111, 143 and 3. Guys, that's a fast track. They go fast in California. I don't like the way they finished. Intrepido did not blow by the field, guys. They were tired up front, Desert Gate, etc. And you just happen to be the one picking up the pieces. I do not like the American Pharaoh Prep at all. That's why I've got Brandt second, who I think could wire the field. I don't love him, but in this field, I think he could wire. I think it's 7-8 around the track until the top of the stretch when it'll be 8-7. Final thoughts in this race, guys. We got to get to the last race, the turf.
No, you can move on. I think we've covered this one. This one's pretty straightforward, I think.
Okay.
My final
ahead,
thought,
Paul.
Howard, is...
Do you guys have Brandt thoughts? We got to talk about Brandt. I mean, we haven't really talked about Brandt.
I'm not so sure Brandt isn't going to need a binky in the last furlong.
Baffert does not usually do this, guys, this sort of long break before the Breeders' Cup. He's not good at it either. So I'm wondering why they did it, Paul. But I'll tell you what, he is fast. I know his action, he paddles. Guess what? Vacoma paddles too. He's a pretty damn good horse, and his progeny are ridiculous and don't paddle. So I'm not sure I buy this. I don't like his action kind of thing. He's fast, guys. He's fast. But you're right, Paul. He might. I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping you're right that he gets tired in the stretch. So, Pete, you have Brandt. You have Brandt out of the money, Pete.
Well, the way I look at it, I mean, I could see him winning the race, but I also figure if he doesn't, then maybe he just fades out of it, and maybe he's just gasping for air late, and then we can sort of just get him out as the second choice.
He feels like an all or nothing, right, Pete? Like either
that's what I was looking at. So either you like him to win, I don't like him the way you said for second, because I feel like he's either going to wire the field or he's just going to sort of fade and just get past late.
I say Pete because I just don't love the field.
I know. I don't love the
finish.
That's very true, though.
Yep. Well, and also the other Baffert is speed is inside. They're not going to battle. So Brandt's going to go. Limbus Test is going to sit a little bit because he doesn't want to be wide with Brandt. So I don't know. All right, guys. Last race. We really appreciate everyone watching. It's been awesome. We have another show, by the way, tomorrow night, Wednesday night, for the Saturday last 5 races. If you're interested in the first 4 Breeders' Cup races on Saturday, our Pacific Horse Player guys are taping a show tomorrow, Wednesday. It'll be up on YouTube. I'm not sure when it'll be up on YouTube tomorrow, probably late afternoon, early evening, but look for that. The first 4 Saturday Breeders' Cup races will be covered by the Pacific Horse Player guys. That's Noah, Ryan, and Jackson. And then the 3 of us are covering the last 5 races, including the Turf, the Classic. Wow. Unbelievable last 5 races tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. Hopefully we'll have some sovereignty news, and I hope it's going to be good news at that point. All right, guys, last race, closeout leg of the late pick 5 on Friday, closeout of Lotta. The betting menu, by the way, is absolutely ridiculous. Please check it out. Sometimes we've talked about it. We're not going to talk about it tonight. Here we go, guys. Breeders' Cup Juvenile for the males, large field. of 14 with an also eligible as well. And a pretty heavy morning line favorite again, but way on the outside, the number 14, Gstaad for Aiden O'Brien and Sumion. Aiden O'Brien, I think, that's the only one he has here in this race. And if you didn't catch our show with Aiden, I don't know why you wouldn't have. But Aiden O'Brien right now, this is incredible. He's got 25 grade 1 wins. Now, before I let me finish this, not 25 in his career, not 25, in the last 5 years. He has 25 Group 1 wins this freaking year. Completely insane. The record is 28. I think he's got a decent shot, guys, to tie that record or maybe go above it if he really has a weekend. It's just absolutely incredible. Anyway, Gstaad is a nice horse, but drawn way on the outside. Let's see where we're going to end the Friday Future Stars Friday card. I'm going 12-14-2. Paul's going 14-9-6. And look at Mr. Visco. Pete, I take everything back I just said about you negatively. We have the same top two. You're going 12-14-9. Paul Gstaad, again, another really, really talented horse. I don't think he's more talented than the field as Precise is to this field, but he's got some quirks. He's a little bit goofy. I've watched a lot of replays. I'm sure you have too. Even Aiden has said, he can be a little bit rank. He's a little bit, he hits the ground really hard. He reminds you of the Secret Adversary. If you remember how he ran at Woodbine, he's got the 14 hole. He's never been the mile. There's questions, but again, he is the most talented horse in this field. I don't think anyone would question that.
Yes, and that's, again, some of the people are going to say, well, you idiot, you keep landing on these heavy favorites from the outside post. But I guess where I landed was I wasn't going to pick against them just because of the post.
Yeah.
And I will say, I do like Argos here. I almost picked Argos. I think that horse is pretty good. Gets Pratt, is going to be closing. You would think is going to get a good trip. The post is fine, but this Stad, however you pronounce it, did have an eventful trip last time, as I'm sure you saw.
Yeah.
He is stretching out. My feeling on that, I've been consistent. I think the Euros automatically get an extra furlong over here. No problem. It's like you come out of Kentucky Downs, you can get an extra furlong, or come out of Longchamp or wherever. But yeah, again, Sumion's going to earn his scholarship on Friday, or I hope he is anyway. But I do think it's the best horse in the race, and I am not going to pick against him just because of the post. I have others that I like at big prices that I'm going to use on the board, kind of a reverse tri-key situation. But I did land on this one on top, although I will have Argos on my A line.
I'm upgrading Gstaad from before, and I'm slightly downgrading Precise because of the time form. And maybe I'm going to look stupid, and that's going to be a wrong decision come Friday early evening. But Gstaad, guys, has 103, 107, 109 on the right side there, time form. No one else can match that. I mean, and Precise, what didn't blow me away by the time form. So if time form is something I look at a lot, I mean, you look down this field, I mean, Argos is 185, Paul. You're talking about 8-9 points more for Gstaad. That's, about 4 lengths. That's pretty significant there. I mean, you look up and down this field on the right side. I mean, just no one really is really that close. You see 94, 98 for outfielder. Street Beast, who I think some people like because of the number, only got a 95 time for him when he won by 7 at Kentucky Downs. So, by time form, guys, Gstaad is more impressive on paper than Precise. Again, food for thought. Take it whatever it's worth. Pete, you and I are going to go with a very interesting horse, and that is Botas. And his last race, Pete, the number was the number. He got a better buy. He actually went down on time for him. I thought it was better than it looks. I thought he was a little bit rank. He was in between. You know how I feel about horses that are claustrophobic spots, especially 2-year-olds. I think he's got some talent. I really like the way he kicked on late when he was challenged by Here's Johnny. I like the gallop. I think there's more there than it looks on paper. That's my feeling. And I think I'll say we, would love to see Miguel Clement win a Breeders' Cup race, guys, after the year that his family has had.
Sure, but I agree with you on the race. It was the actual race. That race impressed me to the point where that's why I wound up landing on top. And
let's look at it. He's the 4. I'll let you talk it through.
Yeah,
he's the 4. Here's Johnny's the 2. Let It Be Frank is closing on the outside as the 11. So watch the 4, the 11, and the 2. They're right next to each other. Go ahead, Pete.
Yeah, and really when you're going to watch when they hit the stretch, and you see the 4 right there is going to have to navigate a little bit. And you see here, it looks like you're going to maybe get clear run for a second, and then now does, but then gets bumped, then gets pinched a little bit there. And again, these are, they're still 2-year-olds, so getting that. Yeah. But I like the way that right after that, he just sort of kicked away and never – Here's Johnny was never getting to him. I mean, he beat him close, but it was comfortable, I thought. So I just liked that there was a little bit of trouble. And in a big field like this, it's not going to be clean and easy. So to have a horse that was able to navigate that and still kick on late. And again, the pace wasn't fast. So it's not like those 3 were closing into a fast pace, even though it fell apart. It didn't fall apart because they were zipping around so fast that it was just naturally going to fall apart. I thought they ran well, and I just really liked the way he finished. And it was an impressive race to me, and I'm going to ignore the figure, especially because on debut there was a figure that I thought puts that horse in the mix.
Well, there was a timing malfunction in the Pilgrim and time form set, and so they're not.
Yeah,
you have to discount that. Look how he stretches out, Paul. I mean, he really reaches. This was his debut win, which was really good. Now, a few of these horses out of this race have not come back yet, so I'm not sure how strong that field is. Pete, I really wish he drew further inside. I'd like him even more. The 12 can be tricky.
Yeah,
but I think there is enough early speed in there, and I just hope he gets the trip. And I frankly hope he's more than 6-1. I think, let me see what he is by European standards. What was your thought about this horse, Paul? You've got him out of the money, but are you going to use him at all?
Yes. Yep. Yeah, okay. He falls into that category of you can only pick 3. I'm a rule-following guy, as you know, and the rules say that we can only pick 3. So, yes, I will be using him.
They've got Gstaad. You know what's fascinating, guys? They got Gstaad based the same price as Precise, if not even lower, which is interesting. They got Botas at 3rd choice. If Outfielder beats Botas, guys, I'll be surprised. We'll talk about Outfielder in a minute. They got Botas about 9 or 10. Boy, I would love that. I don't think we're going to get that because they were going to put him at 6. So I don't think we're going to get that there.
Yeah.
All right, Paul, you talked about Argos. Pete, you got Argos 3rd. I looked at him carefully. He's talented, and it's Pratt, but he got just the dream of dream chips last time. I just don't see that again, but I would use him as a safety valve. I don't like him as much as you guys, but I get it. Who else can we talk about? Paul, you got the 6.
I think the right? 6 is a board. I think the 6 is a board possibility here. I don't think the last race was as bad as it looks. Obviously, the price, that was on yielding. Every other race that this horse has run was on good. So that could have been a factor last time. Again, not going to bet the house on her, but if he funks up for 2nd at 30 at 35-1, that would work.
Okay. I got Street Beat in 3rd, Beast, because I have a lot of respect for Ben Colbrick, and he's also inside speed guy, so he's going to save ground. The problem is I'm not sure how good he really is. I know he won well last time. I just don't trust the Kentucky Down Figs at all. Outfielder is also fast and will be going. North Coast looks like he wants to go a little bit. We should close the show or our review by talking about Hey Nene, who, guys, I didn't know what to do with this horse. I don't like California turf horses in general. I'm sorry to my California friends. That being said, he's fast and he's good and he's going to get position. I just don't know about the competition, guys.
Yeah, I actually had him in 3rd and then switched it out. So I sort of like this horse because I was like, all the horses I have are sort of most likely going to be coming from the back a bit. So
Right.
I thought I wouldn't mind having one up a little closer. And this one is at least super talented. So there's a lot to like. But again, from Rosario's funny. Where Rosario, does he just sort of gun it and try and get out and get a spot and get up front or get close to it? Or if he falls back, then I think this horse is in trouble.
Any final thoughts from you, Paul, in this race?
I will have this horse as a C because of the late, great Edgar Cartado. They ain't beaten him yet. What makes you think they're going to beat him today? Any undefeated horse goes on my C line at least.
Okay, there we go. Guys, let's go to our best bets. We hope everyone appreciates. Don't go anywhere. We're not quite finished, but almost finished. Let's go our best bets of the day on Friday. And we really appreciate everyone watching our show tonight. We've got another last live show for our Breeders' Cup shows tomorrow on Wednesday as I go and find the best bets. All right, Paul, we're going to you first. You're going to go to race 6. Race 6 is the first Breeders' Cup race. It is the turf sprint. You're going to go with a pick 3. You are bold, my friend, playing that turf sprint as part of your best bets. I give you a lot of props for that. You're going 1, 8, 9 with 7 with 13, 2 singles. Please talk about this best bet.
Explorer and Precise, and then I went with Brussels, Havana, and I did throw True Love in. I think that's a ticket I'd play for like $10 or so and hope to get a, you're not going to get rich off of it, but it will. I don't think anyone's going to be a hugely heavy favorite in that first leg. So you get that. That's where you hope to spice it up just a little bit.
Mr. Visco is going to play a double in race 6 to 7. So similar thinking. He's going 8, 10 with 1, 7. And then he's going to play race 9, which is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's going to go Blackout Time and Ted Noffey into Botas in a double.
Yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory, just going with the 2. And again, if we can get a half decent price on Botas, just because I think that field could be a little spread out after the favorite, then I think we can get that to pay even with Ted Noffey. And in the first one, I'm going to try and beat, in the double at least, I'm going to try and beat True Love and go with the 2 that I like, Havana Anna and Cy Fair, and go into Iron Orchard and Explorer, who we talked about, who's definitely the logical favorite. But again, I think we can get a price even with Explorer if we can get the 8 or the 10 to be a float up a little bit, or at least be half decent odds.
Guys, here's my best bet, and the first one I feel pretty strongly about. So much so that I'm not afraid to say I might be doing something with this type of bet in the Breeders' Cup betting challenge. I'm going to straight Dutch and Exacta with Precise and Ultimate Love. And if you don't know what Dutch means, that means I'm going to play different amounts to get the same result. So let's just say the Precise Ultimate Love Exacta pays 6 to 1. And let's say the other way around, it pays 14 to 1 or whatever it might pay. I'll obviously play twice as much on Precise over Ultimate Love as the other way around. I just don't like a lot of the other horses. I don't like the Keeneland race. And I'm going to take my chance with Trombetta on a very interesting horse who's going to save ground and hope I get lucky. But if Ultimate Love wins, guys, I will not be shocked. A lot of people might be. I will not be. My other one is in race 9. I think Ted Noffey is the goods in this race. I think it's a weak field. And I just think if he runs his race, guys, he wins, unless Brandt freaks, which is possible. And then I'm going to toss Gestad in the back end of the double, because why put Gestad in the double with Ted Noffey? So I'll go 2, 9, 12, 13. We talked about those horses mainly in the back end of the double. So 8 with 2, 9, 12, 13 in my double. Gentlemen, it's been a great time here. We wish a lot of success and luck for people on Friday. Any final thoughts from either one of you about anything going on in the Breeders' Cup as of right now, 9:15 Tuesday night, 72 hours before the races?
Go ahead, Paul.
Well, I'm on, I think I know how it's gonna end up, but as I texted to someone tonight, Howard, I don't know if it's proper to pray for a horse's health, but I am doing it.
We understand, especially with Paul's close relationship to Godolphin and to Junior, and boy, that would be. Junior's done just fine for himself lately, Paul.
Yeah, he has.
Again, if you're any type of racing fan,
yeah,
you want sovereignty in this race. We'll find out more tomorrow. Pete, final thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with Paul. I think that's obviously the biggest story right now. But like anything, even if that does go a negative way, which we're hoping it doesn't, it's just great. It's a great time. And we talk about these races and there's so many different opinions, and you see the differing opinions that we have on this show, and I'm sure we'll have tomorrow. But it's crazy because you're just talking about good horse after good horse after good horse, and it's so much fun. And you just want to see who steps up. You want to see big performances, and that's what we love the Breeders' Cup for.
Absolutely. Pete, by the way, stay on after the show for 30 seconds. I got to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
Guys and ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining. Here's my overall thought for Friday. I think there's one of two ways you can go. You can either say, Howard, Pete, Paul, these favorites are way too good. I'm going to play a $50 straight pick 3 and just try to crush the favorites and not get cute and why is everyone overanalyzing, blah, blah, blah. Or you try to beat them or some kind of combination. For me, I'm going to try to beat them. I hate the outside posts and I'm going to try to beat them. And I think I have good logical reasons. Whether it works or not, I don't know. I'm going to play a lot more money on Saturday. I've talked about this with my friends and family of the podcast. I don't love betting 2-year-olds time at, race after race after race. Again, these are 11 and 12-year-old kids running around there, guys, and anything can happen, as you know. So I'll put more money in on Saturday, but generally speaking, other than Ted and Offie, I'm going to try to beat some of these other big favorites. I don't wish anything negative upon them. We shall see. Great show, guys. Again, we'll see you tomorrow night, Wednesday, for Picks and Ponies, our last Breeders' Cup show, 8 p.m. Eastern, covering the last 5 races on Saturday. For my awesome, wonderful friends and co-hosts, Pete Visco and Paul Harrow, and this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, Picks and Ponies, Breeders' Cup 2025 edition, episode 437. Crush your bets this Friday at the Breeders' Cup. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.